And welcome. We're just getting some startup right here. Glad that you can make it. And then what is happening is we've invited all of the media students that will be keeping our students involved. And I don't know, I might pick up some other majors too, because I also do art history.
Right. So we'll kind of like it, artists and designers.
Yeah.
All the designers. That's good audio.
Great. Sorry, I'm gonna make sure that the people online can see.
Oh.
So, yeah, that's good. Perfect. And then I'm gonna just join manually so that they can see it at home.
Do we want to call you Carol or Professor?
Oh. Very
Just want
fine.
to refer to you, Carol.
Yeah, Carol's fine.
I think it's more appropriate if we face the camera, or should we?
Oh, I'll be tracking the camera. I can actually move it.
Sure.
Yeah. So let me just, I'll move this.
Would this get in the way of the owl?
No,
You sure?
it's not sure.
Let's see. I've never seen one.
It sees you because you're.
I'll stay here. I'll stay here.
Yeah, because it actually has a 360 view. It's walking around.
Yeah.
It has a 360 view of the whole lab.
Wow.
And then as we talk, it changes.
Dude, we're getting one. We're getting one. We're getting one.
It's really cool.
I love that. Owl labs.
All right, you guys can go ahead and start, and then I'll control the owl from my.
Are you recording?
Oh, yes, it is automatically recording.
Okay, I just wanted to see if you were.
Let me just make sure. Yeah, we're good.
All right. So good afternoon, everyone. In the studio and online. We are Bridgegood, a community design studio in Oakland. Really happy to be here today and seeing my old professor, Carol. So we do have a lot to go over today. Make sure you take notes or screen capture of photos. We also will have a Q&A session at the end, so you guys can ask questions. So let's get started. My name is Elisa, Program Manager at Bridgegood. I've been working in the apparel industry for more than 12 years, but I'm also a proud graduate of Bridgegood. So we're here today to share all the resources I have been exposed to while I was a student to you all. And now I will show you all a short video to introduce you to our executive director.
Calling all designers, those inspired to make something iconic. Every visionary starts as a student, and one day, students transform to leaders.
Joining me in the studio is Sean Tai.
Sean Tai.
Sean Tai.
So if you guys don't already know who Sean Tai is, let me put you up on this game.
He's like a mentor, you know, first and foremost, and somebody who made me believe more in myself.
Another legendary Oaklander, Sean Tai.
An entrepreneur who is socially responsible, looking out for his community and the youth who are coming up behind him, Sean Tai.
Executive Director, Sean Tai.
Sean Tai has taught thousands of students in dozens of schools that their creativity can change the world.
So how do they do it? Let's find out. Sean Tai.
The pro with an eye for turning a passion into a career.
My name is Sean Tai. I'm the co-founder and executive director of Bridgegood.
How do we take artists and make them the best version of themselves to make a social impact?
I think it's really about how do you empower under-resourced, underserved communities and actually solve a problem.
We need tech to see us as people. We need tech to respect us as people. And there's more talent from pipelines that they don't know yet.
Understand the needs of the people in our community and to invest in those initiatives as well. Thank you so much.
Sean is really terrific, I have to say that.
It seems like
really, no, he really is.
He's got a lot of
He
energy,
reaches
too.
out to all parts, all segments of the community.
He's expanding to reach students in Southern California and Atlanta. His major funders include Google.org, Adobe, Twitter, Craigslist founder Craig Newmark, and MC Hammer.
Well, that's an eclectic group.
What about Sean Tai inspires you? Sean is a motivator. He is a go-getter. Look what he has done.
And Sean Tai, if you think I'm a liar.
Thanks for being here, Rob, thanks for being here in person at SJCC. I wanted to say hello to Rowena, who's the president here, who's a good friend of mine. I've known her for about 6 years. And today what we're going to present are tangible ways that you can get involved with Bridgegood to launch your creative career. So definitely want to say thank you to San Jose City College, and let's get started. So Rob, since you're the only person here in person, when you hear the phrase design for social good, well, what does that mean to you? And there's no wrong answer. And by the way, if there's any answers on the chat, happy to answer those as well.
Design for social good. So first thing that comes to mind is social media and outreach. Just reaching a lot of people and trying to promote positive mindset.
Yeah, I like that phrase, positive mindset. Absolutely. I think thinking about ways to amplify design through social media, that's one way. Another way is through billboards, which is what we're known for. Carol, I'm wondering, what do you think the phrase design for social good means?
I think that when we're thinking about design, it's something that can be for everyone. And I think that when you say for social good, it's something that can, through design, everyone can rise up and be together and really show the best parts of our community.
I love that. And also sometimes getting help with the parts. You know, their mental health is a big deal, and it should have focus on it. Differences should be focused on as a way to unite us as well. And design is really the center of that, right? And for us, it's these 4 pillars. It's people. Right? And we have someone else coming through. What's your name? Carlos. So we have Carlos joining us, and we're just recapping the 4 pillars of design for social good. First being people, second being product, and starting with the people. Please take a seat. Starting with the people, we at Bridgegood really believe that you, Rob, and Carlos are really changing the world, and it starts with something very simple, Lisa. What's your niche in the design world, and then what are you going to contribute to make the world a better place? Secondly, it's creating products. In our case, it's a web application, Ruby on Rails, AngularJS. We built it from scratch. Designed by students for students. So anyone here, Rob, Elisa, myself, anyone can join, have Bridgegood.com/Elisa or Sean, and showcase your own, right? So you're building products that help other students. Passion's a great one where these are both graduates of our program, Nishat and Anu. Shout out to both of them. And even though they went through a UX apprenticeship with Bridgegood, they are artists at their heart. And you can see on the right-hand side, what Nishat does now is he turns all of his traditional art into NFTs, and he's making a career out of it. So the last NFT he sold was $7,500. And what something else is pretty crazy too about Nishat is he just bought a Tesla. Right? And I'm like, man, you are killing it. You just graduated, went through Bridgegood, but whatever your passion is in art, it doesn't have to just be UX design. You can make that a career. And last but not least is purpose. And this is for anyone watching right now, whether it's virtual, recording later on, you can join our Inspire Open Design Challenge for the chance to have your art featured on billboards. That's Devon, who was a San Jose State graduate, went through both the Inspire Open Design Challenge and the apprenticeship, and now is a full-time product designer in Korea, South Korea. So that's just one example of, and he's a breakdancer, by the way. He's not even, his love is breaking. So we're gonna talk about your journey. But first, let's get into what is Bridgegood. Is it a school, Lisa? What is it?
No, as I mentioned earlier, Bridgegood is a community design studio. We are a nonprofit organization. Been doing this for 14 years with a long history of paying it forward. And even though we are a nonprofit, we're being funded by tech giants such as Adobe, Google, Warriors, Salesforce, and many more. So we're here to get everyone involved today the same way me, myself, and many other students got involved.
Great. We're going to cover everything that you're not learning in school, hopefully, right? In school, San Jose City College, great design program. You're probably learning Photoshop, Illustrator. Maybe you're jumping into some Figma, maybe XD. We're going to cover the experience part, how to really start doing what you're learning. That's what we're going to focus on. The first starts with, and I love what you're saying, and you're sharing your journey. Everyone here, you included, of course, has a journey. And it's before you kind of start looking for a job, it's really important to look at your own journey and have some takeaways from your journey. So if you look at the slide here, my journey started as a 16-year-old, and I loved cars. Everything from the body kits, dual tone interior, 8-point roll cage, direct port nitrous, coil logo suspensions, pro white paint. I can go on and on and on. I just loved it. I loved automotive design. I also loved building a community. So I was 16, around 50 members total, from Richmond to Berkeley to Stanford, members from every walks of life. And that's what really taught me the importance of community. And then in terms of design, I fell in love with that through my mom. My mom was a furniture designer who did everything by pencil. So I helped translate her pencil artwork into 2D and 3D drawings, CAD drawings. And in the bottom right, I learned to kind of take my creativity to the next level visually through video, starting a YouTube channel that in 1 year had 30 million views. So between community, design, and technology, to your point, Bob, of using it to reach the masses, I said, how do we inspire the next generation of creators like you all through Bridgegood? And that's kind of how I started. Now, why would I share those parts of my journey? This is really what I took from it. It's not that I'm going to be a rapper pushing the TV or be a professional automotive car club president, but these are the skills I learned: leadership, building relationships, organizing, organizational skills, adaptability, working with my mom, who was very frustrated at going to the digital world, right? Time management, customer service, talking to members of the community that are Black, Latino, Asian. That really got me into speaking to people. Pushing the Bay really got me to network with different professionals, specifically rappers and people from different walks of life. So from that, you got to think about, what stage are you at of your career? Is it you're the artist? You know, that you love creating. You obviously here at San Jose City College, you love learning. Doing is a big one, and I think that's why we're here. It's doing apprenticeships, doing internships, building that experience while you have a student badge, because you don't have that forever. And then most importantly, what I'm showing you this is, what does success mean for you? Because if you don't know that question, you can't really get a career or start a career. And for me, success means the things I talked about: a combination of community design and technology for social good. Carol, what does success mean to you? And I know for everyone, they interpret that differently.
Yeah.
What would you say success is?
I think for me, it's like, I think one of the factors is being in a safe space where I can work creatively with and collaborate with other artists. Because something that I really found in my journey is, like, after graduation, I didn't have a network of artists. I had like my friends, but I didn't really have a network of artists, and it didn't feel the same creating, where you go to the lab and you have fun and you can kind of, you know, be with people. So that's one of the things that I try to carry with me. So when I came to this college, I was like, we should have an art club. We should have more collaborative spaces. So that's the idea of like being able to create in a safe way is important to me.
I think that's a beautiful statement of success. And you notice there was no title there. There was no, I know Photoshop there. So that's the kind of phrase that you want to develop as a creative, is define what success means. I love that. And discovering your path. You're probably like, Sean, but I don't know how to do that. How do I figure out what success means? Well, there are three ways. One is the why. Why are you actually passionate about design? And one way to do that is start reaching outside your comfort zone. You know, the same way I kind of went into these different car club, furniture, hip hop, and you're going outside your comfort zone, you're learning from others, and then you start to develop your story and your unique experiences, and that helps you develop your why, just like you.
Right.
You're able to eloquently just say exactly what it is. Right? Now think about that. How many people can actually state that concisely? Not that many. And that just means you found your calling, you know, as an educator. Great, that's great. And after you figure out your why, you figure out the how. How are you different than the competition? It's interesting. Number one, the thing we all need to know about it is 100,000 people were laid off since December. And that's in Silicon Valley. Right? So you think about Bay Area, Northern California, 100,000 people that are qualified, 2 years to 7 years of experience. I've even seen a few with 10 and 12 years, friends. That means you all watching as a creative, at least as a student, you're competing effectively against 15,000 people in the fall that have networks that can design, right? So think about how you're going to make yourself different than the competition. Now, I'll tell you, it won't be experience professionally yet, but it might be your life experience. It might be those stories that, just like, hey, Sean, you did a car club that inspired the Fast and Furious. That's a cool story. It might get you in the door from just a cool story. So if you know that you're competing against 15,000 people, now you find opportunities to go above and beyond. Now you look around at different social networking sites and you get inspired. Hopefully, and then you start thinking about your story and how to make people go, wow, I want to know that person, or I want to hire that person. The what is why you're probably at San Jose City College is you actually need a skill set. You do need to know, like Rob, right now, if I asked you, what's your go-to software? What would you say?
Blender, I guess.
Blender.
Yeah.
Right. The fact you can say that so quickly is a positive thing. Because there are a lot of people that go, I'm good at it. And then you actually see their portfolio, and what they need is they've done 5 school projects. One's in Illustrator, one's in Photoshop. That's not what you were saying, Rob. You're like, I'm proficient in one software, Blender. That's my go-to. That's what you want to bring to the workforce. You want to be so confident in that one skill. Especially right now, don't say you're good at everything. Because let's be honest, it's not true. I don't know any student that's good at everything we're doing, because you still have no time. Right?
Yeah, can't be jack of all trades.
One great point that you can do, even if you don't have that much software experience, research and understand their customers and the product and the competitors of wherever it is you're applying to. So if you're applying to a startup, you should know everything about that startup. I don't care if it's CBD, I don't care if it's a tech startup, I don't care if it's fintech. Know the company, know its competitors. That's the mindset. You brought, Rob, you were saying at the beginning, a positive mindset. Bring a mindset to that company, a unique mindset. Right? And ultimately, once you figure out your why, how, and what, and you develop your own mission statement of yourself, then you can start figuring out, well, where do I fit on it? This is not everything, but if you're more about talking to people, communication, you might be more on the research top right side. If you're about prototypes, wireframes, you're probably on the bottom right UI side. If you're more about photo, video, interaction, bottom left. And if you're just kind of if you are a generalist, art director, working at an agency, a medium-sized agency is pretty cool. So just think about where you fit once you figure out your superpower. And if your superpower, so outside of Blender, Rob, what would you say your work superpower is? What do you bring to the stage?
Personable.
Personable.
Yeah.
Like that might sound silly to some people, but that's huge. To say that you can meet with people and people actually want to be around you, you can find a job in Silicon Valley easy, right? Let's just be honest, not everyone works with personable people. So my point of me saying that is your superpower is not the software. I just want to make that clear. It could be you're a team leader, you're a good listener, you're a good facilitator, you like to hit the whiteboard, you like to get people getting ideas. Then you can go, okay, if I like cultivating ideas, I'm probably going to go more in research and start focusing on that. So just an example. Checklist, right? What is this, Elisa? Take us into this.
Yeah, so, hopefully we got you all to start thinking about your why, how and what, and also identifying your superpower. But now we're going to provide you with a checklist to jumpstart your career. And this checklist is actually information we gathered from recruiters.
These are great to take photos of, screen capture. And again, I want to start by saying it is probably the hardest time to find a job in the past 30 years. And this is the time here. So for right now, you really want to hone in on what you're good at, your skills, not experience, but also what you bring to the table from life experiences and perspectives. Completing your degree, you're getting that here at San Jose City College. You want to start engaging with creatives that are in your field. This third one's important. Getting out there in person. I've been talking to a lot of recruiters recently. Almost every tech company, including Google, including the big names, are requiring you to go to work in person now. Because they're doing studies where people are, to be quite honest, complacent. A lot of the tech workers were complacent. A lot of them, not all of them, but a lot were, because you get to go to work once a week. You don't have any success metrics, or very few. And now they're starting to tighten up and say, hey, if you want to work with this company, you can get the perks, but we need to see you, we need to collaborate. So seeing people in person, getting out there, getting comfortable, speaking about your craft, sharing your experience, I think is so important. Now, Lisa, if I'm a freelancer, I'm a student, I'm working a part-time job that has nothing to do with design because I had to pay the bills, myself included, financially, and everything throughout my whole college career. Why is it good to get paid work? Paid projects, a logo from a friend. Why is it good to ask for money?
Like you mentioned, we all got bills to pay, so we have to make sure, you know, those bills are paid, take care of our necessities. The other important thing about getting a pay gig is, I know Carol gives really great feedback.
Sure.
She's real, she's really honest,
Great.
but also you can only work with a professor for so long.
Yeah.
Right? So by getting a paid job or doing a paid project, you will get real feedback from real clients.
Yeah.
Unlike Carol, whose feedback is always positive, constructive, sometimes you may not like what you hear from a real client, but take that as a lesson learned and also think of it as something that can help you understand and develop your creative process.
And what that means is documentation. Documentation is vital. And what that means is throughout the entire process of a creative project, these are the questions that will come up. What was the duration of the project? Right? Who were the team members? Did you work with the client? Who was the client? Tell me about that client's business. What was the problem statement? What was the solution? How many iterations did you come up with? And what were the inflection points throughout that project? That's how you get hired as a designer. And I see Rob going, yep. It's not that you know Photoshop. It's not that you can make a pretty, even I'll be honest, an NFT. It's the process of walking through the employer or client, how you design.
Yeah.
And then ultimately, it is about the delivery, meaning the final project as well.
Yeah, and most importantly, company want to hire problem solvers.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
of course. And the second part of this checklist is the first one. I think, Rob, you got this down. We mindset. It's never an I mindset. And I was guilty of this, going to school and I'd go to class, do my project, go home. I would just try to get home as fast as I could, not talk to people. In the previous 3 classes, I asked that question: how many people here do their work, go home? 90% of the class raised their hand and said, I do individual work all the time, just go home. So now is the time when, if that's you, which it was me, and you're like, I hate being around people, I just want to work at home, throw on Netflix and just chill. If you want a career and you want to like feed your family, you got to start thinking as a mindset. That's just being really honest. Optimizing your resume is always important, but Carol, when is your resume done? Never, right?
Yeah.
So if you know your resume is never done, you have to be prepared to show it in its current stage. You used to get away with, it's not done, now you can. One easy way to do that is on Bridgegood.com, our portfolio site, we have a resume tab. We just like fill it in and it creates a resume for you. You can use LinkedIn as well. There's tons of resources for that. Finding people that inspire you, Carol. Do you want to share who inspired you as a student and maybe early in your career?
Yeah, actually, when I was in high school, my mom ran into this artist, Shannon Amiadon, and she became my mentor. And she walked me through like the old school progress of like how you make a portfolio and how it can be said, like when you're going for school, they wanted the negative photograph. Yeah, to show that. And I was like, I don't even know what I was a kid, I didn't know anything about it. But she has a different artwork and style than me. She works with like encaustic art, wax, kind of some really off the wall stuff. But she really helped me show me a path that it was possible to be an artist, a working artist, and then get money, get following, and then also be active on like social media. And it's about, I think she engraved in my brain, like how you present yourself.
Absolutely. Yeah. I love every point you brought up there. And notice it doesn't have to be someone that's a designer who inspires you. Right? It can be someone that just mentally helps you stay stable and keeps you encouraged and gives you confidence. Right. I think that's so important. You also touched upon another thing, an online business. Elisa, what's that about? What are we talking about there?
Well, speaking of online presence, I do have a surprise for you. I Google searched you before we came.
Oh my gosh, you had all that time to do it?
I didn't.
Okay.
So here is a screen capture of the Google search result of Sean, the first page.
Yeah, so the first page, this is what most people hiring do eventually. So I'm gonna use Adobe, one of our great partners, as an example. They'll have an opening for a paid internship and get 140 people apply for one position. From those 140, they'll probably eliminate half, just I'm guesstimating, based on qualifications alone. And you get down to 20 or 10. Once you start getting around 10, 15, you're probably gonna Google some people. And just say, hey, let's see this person's presence online. Did they have collaborations with them? How are they in school? Are they on different platforms on the webs? Right? Think about it. For me, Instagram, and the answer is yes. Instagram, YouTube, Bridgegood, my portfolio, Facebook, my own website. Now, all of these should have curated content. So if you're niche and you're an NFT artist, everything should be new art, new mediums, NFTs, type B stuff, that feel vibe, right? Some of the art we sold too, right? For me, it's probably education, UX, starting companies. This idea that you have to curate starts now because it took me 15 years to build this. Right? And one way to do that, like Jessica, we met her last year. She's at UC Davis, their design school. She's never had a portfolio. She's like, Sean, I'm just doing classwork and passion projects. Should I upload that to Bridgegood? Absolutely. Bridgegood is a place that you can post all of your schoolwork. You're not really worried about quality as much, but just getting your work archived as a collection of work. I think Jessica did a great job of that. And I'm not going to go over this completely because this is not a portfolio class. If you're interested in some 5 portfolio tips, you can screen capture that. And I'll go over it very quickly. No more than 2 to 3 case studies. Some people think you need 30 portfolio projects. No, you need high resolution images and up to 3 case studies where you talk about your design methodology. So you might be saying, I do logos, I don't have a methodology. That's not true. You definitely should. I hope you don't design and just jump to digital, right? Usually it's talking to a client or a stakeholder, right? Doing some sketches, coming up with some concepts, getting feedback and moving on to the next, and then testing at the end, right? Another thing that you want to do is, when possible, include client-facing projects. Rob, what do you think that means? Client-facing projects. Sorry, I'm putting this out totally on the spot. What do you think client-facing projects is?
Client-facing projects, working with the client.
Projects where you're working with the client and not at school. By the way, he's good at this.
I know.
Client-facing projects just means projects with people. You can't have a portfolio with only school projects. I'm sorry, you just can't.
Yeah, and speaking of client-facing project, I remember one of the projects I worked on in Carol's class.
Cool.
We have to design wedding stationery. And
Ooh.
Carol pretended to be our client, so we have to sell our ideas, starting with sketches and do a pitch.
I'm glad you did that.
Yeah, so,
I'm glad you did that. That's really good.
thank you.
And I'll leave it at this one, keeping it updated. You mentioned that you worked at Levi's Corporate as an apparel fabric developer, and then you pivoted to UX. So your portfolio and your presence should reflect that.
Yes.
That's all that is. Okay. And yeah, for myself, like Sean, what do you do? And at least if you told me to include this, I have everything from Spotify artwork that I've done. I have a video with Zendaya that we filmed at her house, brand guidelines, logos, architectural renderings. I have everything out there. Now, on my own website, it's just hire me to consult for your company. I've worked with Adobe, the Warriors, and so forth. So again, all of this is part of your online presence. Yours will probably reflect this too. You might have a Behance, a Dribble maybe. So you want to start Bridgegood hopefully too, and you start building that ecosystem of online presence platforms. Okay, great, Alicia. So now here's the real question. How do folks listening get involved with Bridgegood the same way you did?
Yeah. So here are some tangible ways students can get involved. from now till end of April, we have the Inspire Oakland Design Challenge. I'm not gonna go into detail right now, which, that's something we'll do a little later. We also have UX design apprenticeships starting first week of June till the end of August. And all year round, you can visit bridgegood.com to post your project on the bridgegood.com portfolio platform. I don't remember you mentioning, but this portfolio platform is completely free.
Right.
With unlimited storage. You own the account for life and you own all your artwork, unlike Instagram or Meta where they own. Yeah.
And I will say, I think Instagram, it's a great platform for creativity to express it. Just keep in mind that just legally they own your artwork.
Right.
Because that's any free site that's public owns whatever you put in there, because that's why it's free, right? For us, it's different. We actually lose money every month with Bridgegood.com, but everything on there is free. It'll always stay free, and yeah.
Yeah, and we actually encourage you to visit bridgegood.com/VIP to register and sign up for events. Okay, so let's get into it.
Yeah, it's
So here's the link. You definitely want to take a screen capture or a photo. Go to bit.ly/get involved Bridgegood. Indicate your area of interest and we will contact you with the link to any of the topic or program you're interested in within 5 business days.
so this is more for, man, there's a lot here. I just want one link. This is it here. You let us know what you want, we'll let you know.
Yeah, we'll select multiple areas.
Yeah, so just getting into the billboard, you go to inspireoakland.com specific for the billboard challenge. You create a theme. What about Oakland inspires you? The more concise, the better. So we've had Black Lives Matter, Stop Rain Today, we've had Fruitvale specific, we've had Lake Merritt specific. Whatever it is, you create that theme and then you format it to 4 different sizes. The first is a bulletin billboard. And there's the specs there. The second is a bus bench ad. Third is an LED, and the fourth is an in-app advertisement. Are you Carlos?
Yeah.
Carlos, why do you think for a billboard challenge, we want you to design all
4? I guess for like exposure, better marketing.
Yeah, I think I like how you started with the business strategy. For us, absolutely. But for you, even if you don't win, you have a case study. So then now you can say, this was a project for Bridgegood. It's a real client. I have experience designing a billboard, that's a bulletin, a bus bench, an LED, and an app ad. So for your portfolio, you now have a real case study. Now to make it even better, Lisa, they can come out to some virtual open labs at bridgegood.com/VIP, right? They can get real feedback, and then you have a really good case study, because then you have moments where you made design improvements, got feedback, and then hopefully you make the top 20. So that's an example of a real case study. That'd be a perfect portfolio piece. And go to inspireoakland.com. It's a Google form with all the rules. There's a handbook PDF. You can learn more about us. You can attend open labs at the link there. And that's due April 21st. So you have tons of time. What is today?
Today is
You have over
a month.
Plenty of time. And one of the questions we get to is, do I need to know software? Well, Summer, all she knows is Microsoft Paint.
What?
And look, she created that in Microsoft Paint.
You know.
And I don't want to know how many hours she spent. The point is that you can do it on Procreate, you can do whatever you want. As long as you follow the specs, you can do that. Now, the apprenticeship is for the creative that goes, look, I know how competitive the market is. I might not want to be a UX designer, but I want to learn how to be a process-driven designer. I want to learn how to design correctly. I want to learn how to design with data. I'm tired of just doing logos. Let's just be honest. Unless you're top tier and you have 30 years of experience, you're not going to get necessarily hired to do logos. But you will get hired to be a part of the UX team, to be a researcher, interaction designer. So we cover everything from how Michael's continue to mapping inclusive design. We touch upon PS, XD, and AI Illustrator. We touch upon double diamond method, design sprints, design thinking. And then, yeah, what do? Oh, I want to share this. This is a new slide. Why UX? Why UX? I did this slide yesterday. And the reason I did this was I wanted to see why I've been seeing UX jobs and not graphic design. So it turns out from 2019 to 2029 projected, graphic designers will trend down 4% year over year. So it's going to go straight down. But the UX growth, 9% up, right? And you think about this, we were talking in the car on the way here, this is a true story. And I said, Elisa, why do you think graphic designers are, that they're becoming less relevant as a title? And it was because they're being AI, right? Things like template websites where you can download a template. Well, I don't want to mention names, but you download a template, put your text here, and it generates a flyer. That's graphic design. There's very little strategy. Now, think about the principle of user experience design is building for a user or designer, understanding the problem the client has. That's much different than a template website. That's why it's growing in graphic design. However, you should still know Photoshop, you should still know Illustrator. So all the skills you're learning are important, but we're talking about job title and the discipline of design. And then in terms of salary, I also want to go over this. Graphic designer, this is all relevant data from LinkedIn, Glassdoor, Indeed, and Monster. Graphic designers ranging from 48K to 68K. Product design, which is above UX, is 95 to 120. About double, potentially triple. So that's significant. Okay, and this is in Northern California. So getting back to what the UX apprenticeship is, now you need to know why. It's, well, wireframing, prototyping. We create a design system together. We do low fidelity, medium fidelity, high fidelity sketches. We use Miro for collaboration, even though this year it's in person, right? Which is
But we'll still be using
it, but we're actually gonna have real stickies, not big stickies. And then getting into task assignment through Trello, learning from different professionals, and the best part, design activities, group interactions with an actual team.
in a safe
Environment, to Carol's point. That's last year's apprenticeship. How would you, if you had to describe last year's cohort of 20, we only select 20 each year, how would you describe that, our cohort last time? I've never asked you that.
Honestly, we had a really eclectic group.
Yeah.
Everyone came from slightly different background.
I think not slightly, so significant.
Yeah.
They were super good last year.
Yeah, we have mass comm major, psychology major, health
engineer.
Yeah. So it took them a little time to get used to each other's working style because we do majority of our projects in groups. And which is something we want to cultivate. We want to, make sure they get used to that we mindset.
Yeah.
Right, so there's definitely some learning curve for these students, but at the end, they all work well with their, not just the group they were assigned to, but people outside of their groups. It's a big family. They stay in touch with each other and with us.
Yeah, we launched Bridgegood at Atlanta in January, so it's pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
And it was led by Brooklyn, who's in there.
She's one of ours. Oh, wow.
She helped us expand it.
I know.
And great, so you get to work in a group, you learn design sprints, learn design fundamentals, and the whole holistic approach. But can I actually see something one of the groups made and gradually we went to take to the workload with?
Yes, so here's an example. This is a design challenge app.
Okay.
Created by 4 of the 2022 graduates. So this is the landing page where we show Bridgegood's mission, testimonial, and funding partners. This is the onboarding page. All right, so let's explore some challenges together. So this page aggregates all the challenges together. It even gives you recommendation on what's trending. So let's take a look at this first one. Here you find all the details about this specific challenge. And once you sign up for a challenge, you have the opportunity to collaborate with other designers or mentors. This is your dashboard. And within this app, you also have the opportunity to explore designs and projects submitted by other designers. For example, here is a tea company logo submitted by Sean. So this is the end-to-end process of what students create as a UX apprenticeship.
And what you don't see there, because that's the final prototype, is how they came up with the idea. How many other design ideas they had, who they interviewed, the questions they came up with those, all the low fidelity sketches, the affinity mapping, having everyone's voice heard, pitching the idea to some people, getting feedback at every stage. All that was done in 3 weeks.
Oh, and user testing.
And again, we're using the same software, the same tools that you would have. And I think that's the key thing. Now, even so, when you get hired right away, because to be a good designer takes years, if not decades, right? Not to scare everyone, but honestly, you got to put work into being a designer. It's a craft. And one of the things that you can do, if that seems intimidating, you can still come out to events with Bridgegood, which means open labs and events like this. We go to Salesforce, the tower in San Francisco, US Bank, which is a great one. FinTech is a big deal, finance tech. Adobe, this is Talon who created Adobe XD in the top right of the hat next to me. And yeah, Adobe is a great sponsor, so I want to shout them out. Etsy is a great one because it's now these site visits are led by Jerry, who's a graduate of Bridgegood, which is really dope. Omar at the far left is now a UX designer at Capital One. Duran now works at Beyond, and then Christina works at Meta, and Christy just finished an internship at Google. So, you know, we've had some pretty dope graduates, but at the end of the day, it's all about where you are. Are you willing to step out of your comfort zone, go places in person, design with others? Sounds simple, but trust me, it's not. Right? It's not. At least not in the beginning, and then it gets easy. This is our studio in Jack London Square. It's 3,000 square feet. Yeah, we're in, right next to Ben and Jerry's. We love it. And waterfront property, so it's pretty dope. And after graduation, Bridgegood helps you, right? And this is exactly what we do. Is great. You've learned, you've done a prototype, but resumes and portfolios. I updated this slide last night. And think about what other resource can you get support after you graduate. Definitely schools, but also Bridgegood, right? And then paid opportunities like hiring our designers that went through our program to do murals. 2 of our murals are currently at Levi Stadium at the Niner Stadium. We work with the Warriors every year. That's Lanisha training kids how to use Adobe products on iPads. These are all paid opportunities, by the way. We've done local nonprofits with brochures and flyers and more traditional digital graphics. So anything that comes our way, we hire our graduates for that. And why don't you close the experiment, Lisa? This is your former instructor.
Yeah. So we get questions from students a lot. What qualification do I need to be involved with Bridgegood? You know, do I need to know a certain software? Do I need to be majoring in a certain area? No. All we ask for is you be curious, passionate, and be creative and have the passion and the drive to learn.
Yeah.
So that was my year, 2021, my cohort. Yeah, the right outside of our studio at London Square. You can follow us if you want Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. And if you need additional support, feel free to send me an email. Elisa@bridgegood.org.
And Carol, how do you think Elisa did? I mean, this was a student of yours. She's been through some training with Bridgegood for a year and a half. How do you think she?
I'm so proud. I'm so proud of her.
Good job. Yeah. And just like with Elisa, maybe the last slide, just with Elisa, we always like to hire our graduates. Now, question, why are you graduates? Because you put in the work. And you want to, just like your students, you want to reward people like Elisa that are coming back to your class and saying, hey, you made an impact in my life. Same thing with Bridgegood. Get involved. There's the bit.ly link that we showed earlier. Definitely, that's Olivia, who now lives in Colorado. And that's where we're also going. And wherever you go, even if you don't get involved with Bridgegood, I would recommend at least the design challenge. inspireworking.com. I would at least do that. And if anything else, take the checklist and use that for your own career. All of those apply to things outside of Bridgegood. So it's not just about Bridgegood, but we are here if we need.
Yeah, I actually want to share a really inspiring story. One of the students who graduated from San Francisco State, I forgot what year she graduated, but she was not super involved with Bridgegood.
Right.
She attended some open labs, she posted her project on bridgegood.com, but just, within that very limited interaction she had with Bridgegood, she was really inspired with our mission and what we do and the resources we provide to the students. Now she has a full-time job as a product designer. She actually contacted us and wanted to come back paying it forward as an instructor.
And that's a good example. You don't even have to go through our program, but if all you do is you do a few things, like go a few open labs. She probably went to three different site visits. She did her portfolio very good. Just those interactions inspired her to become a product designer. And when we heard from her recently, like as in like the past 3 months, she's like, I made it and I want to pay it forward. And that's, you should do that as a human being. Like forget Bridgegood, you do that as a human being to anyone that inspires you and helps you out. Because ultimately it's much more than a job. Hopefully, life, right? Yeah, is much more than a job. So thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Yeah, questions?
Yeah, if I was an aspiring student here on campus trying to get into your program, you mentioned you accept 20
for the apprenticeship.
And that's per year?
20 per year for the apprenticeship, only because it's 3 months, it's 3 days a week. It is 11 to 4, 3 days a week, 2 days in Oakland, 1 day in San Francisco at the Wells Fargo's headquarters. So it is a commitment. Now, on the flip side, things like that, we might call it boot camp. And we just learned that they raised the prices. They range anywhere from 15 to 25,000. Ours is free. That's why we can't just, we have free lunch. We have staff. So there's tons of perks that, to quite honest, we have to keep the doors open to. I think it's a nonprofit. So we can only have 20 per year. But that's for the apprenticeship. The Inspire Open is anyone can join that. Open labs, anyone can join that. So get involved. Probably start by going to a few open labs. Join Bridgegood.com, create something.
How would we involve ourselves with your?
Come to some open labs first, and we'll just talk and get to know you. That's the best. That's my best advice.
And then to be accepted, you have to perform case studies.
No. So why don't you go right now if you can to UXapprenticeship.info, the actual website. Yeah. I'll just go through, and that's a really great question. Sometimes there's so much info that it gets difficult, but we can go to, yes, the website. Now this is UXapprenticeship.info, Carlos.
Yeah.
And if you read through it, it actually talks about what the apprenticeship is, what the handbook is. You can download the handbook, it's a PDF, and learn everything about us.
Okay.
You can go to bridgegood.org to learn more about our nonprofit. Then you join bridgegood.com to upload your work, and there's actually a link. If you hit bit.ly/Bridgegood portfolio, just click that one. That actually brings you to a tutorial on how to create a portfolio on Bridgegood. So we have all the resources here, right? So you can watch that.
Share.
And we'll go ahead and close that for now because it's gonna.
And that's something much.
That's all on UXapprenticeship.info. UXapprenticeship.info. Let's go back to that slide, please. UXapprenticeship.info. So if your thing is I want to join the apprenticeship, go to UXapprenticeship.info. And then again, click it one more time. Thank you, Lisa. And from here, you just go from top to bottom and read it. And start with the handbook, learn more about our organization, upload a portfolio on Bridgegood as one of your many online presences. And then we scroll down, just keep going. There are key dates, all right there, okay? And then what you need is a resume in PDF format. Doesn't need to be perfect, Lisa.
No.
Just needs to be something that we can read.
Sure.
That's it. Then you're going to upload an unofficial school's transcript. We want to know that you have a design passion, if you will. Then you want to make sure you have your portfolio completed. Of course, at least 4 projects uploaded so we can see your work. And attend at least 1 event. And that's it.
Yeah.
Very straightforward. We have one person do everything in 1 week.
Yeah.
So,
And we do offer both in-person and virtual open labs, so we understand you guys are students, you taking classes and maybe working outside of school, so scheduling might be a challenge. Yeah, but once you go to bridgegood.com/VIP, you can see all the open lab, whether it's in person or virtual, and just register.
and I think, again, just to make it less confusing, uxapprenticeship.info has all the steps.
Okay.
So if you just follow that, you'll be good to go. And just quickly going through your basic cell phone, where do you currently live? School, very simple questions.
How likely is an art student successfully acting a program?
Yeah, so
I guess the word is
yeah,
by
so are you talking about once you graduate, or are you talking about?
once you graduate the program.
Yeah, 90% get a job within a year. I wouldn't listen to the staff. I wouldn't join for that staff.
Right.
Because the people that ask that usually don't succeed. And I mean that in all respect. I would go into it with the mindset of, I need experience. I love design. This apprenticeship is gonna help me get to the next level. Now, whether or not you get a job in a month, 2 months, 6 months, 5 years, some people take years. And Carol, tell me what you agree about this. The best designers I know have been designing for 5-10 years minimum. Right? So if I was gonna tell you you're gonna be a great designer in 3 months, I'd be lying to you. Any boot camp that charges you $50,000 is lying to you as well.
But I will say.
Yeah, that's what we do. I'm hella real. That's why I'm very. I'm hella, I don't know. Yeah.
No, exactly, but I want to make sure that just from, my soft skills kind of way.
Yeah.
Is that, the idea too is remember that experience, when you talk about life experience.
Yes.
For me, when I had my first portfolio, that was like stuff that I had, I'm talking about first portfolio, like from middle school to high school. You going through all of your previous work, so even though you might think you don't have anything, or you have no experience at all, you do have something, you've already started creating. And anything that you have, that's something that should still be something like, even if you feel it's kind of like,
Yes.
it's still a year of experience,
Yeah, I'll add to that too, is you will be a better designer than that. I think that's the metric that's.
Right.
You will understand the steps to create a project at the right way. That I can guarantee you. But in terms of job and career, that's you. Right? That's a whole different level. And I will say this, if you enter with a mindset, Julie is a great example. She was an apprentice very early. I remember she met with me the first day and she was a sociology or science major, something not design related. She's like, I want to become a UX designer, Sean, that's my goal. So she had her goal. And I said, give us this 3 months in terms of your attention, your commitment, and keep that goal. And throughout the whole thing, she did it, got a paid extra check at the building. And then a few months ago, November-ish, she's like, I signed a full-time offer. And that took her under, yeah. Now, what I will say is that she came in very determined, not necessarily to get a job, but to be a UX designer. Like holistically, like I'm gonna be a UX, a researcher, get some UX job. I don't know if it's she met Adobe through us. So it's actually a connection through Bridgegood. And her coworker was a mentor at Bridgegood. Which is insane.
Yeah.
But again, I don't really, I hate overselling that you'll get a job because I want to be honest that it's really about you as a human and where you want to take it.
It's true.
And the people that actually care about you will tell you that. My mentor was like, Sean, I'll never give you a penny for your nonprofit, but I'll help educate you and help you get to a point where you can do it yourself. That's good stuff. And like I can help you fish, but you got to do it yourself.
Yes.
And that's how we want to say. We want to give you the tools, the resources, but ultimately it is you.
Hey, Brandon, you're online. I'm sorry, I just wanted to interject. Did we answer your question? The question was from Brandon online.
Hey, Brandon.
And if you want to unmute, you can. It's, do we need previous experience in UX design in order to apply to the UX apprenticeship? So what I'm hearing is no, right?
No, absolutely not. I would say that you must be passionate about the field of creativity.
Okay.
And you must love design. I would say that is probably a prerequisite, but that's subjective.
Yeah, I had no prior experience, but the reason I signed up is because I want to learn what UI UX is.
And having a good attitude is also really important too, I think.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Great question.
Thanks, Brandon.
Thank you. Thank you for answering the question.
Was that your skyline?
What's that?
Your skyline, was that,
Oh, my Scott,
was that yours?
the white one?
Yeah.
That's not even Scott, that's a Jetta.
Oh, Jetta.
So I had a Jetta that looked like it. That was a very compliment. No, it was a Jetta with a 12-piece body here pro light. That was I still have it.
Oh, yeah. That's nice.
Thanks. Yeah, I mean, it's funny because if you ask me what was the biggest waste of money, I would have said cars. And if you ask me what helped me the most, I'd say cars. Because it was the soft skill that I learned from that at 16 being president to now running my own company is the same skills. You know, when I was 16 to now, right? And 2 decades later.
That's the experience.
It's the experience. And again, that's why I value your journey more than I do the work experience. So I care more about what you bring as a person to like with Elisa, it was, I'm a team player, I have gratitude. Elisa was one of maybe 3 or 4 students ever in 13 years to just write a thank you card. Right? Think about how simple that is, like writing a thank you card. I'll never forget that. She wrote a thank you card after the apprenticeship. Like, wow, this really like changed my life. I'm totally down. And I was like, damn, okay. So when it came to a point where I had to hire someone, I reached out to her one other person and ended up hiring Lisa. So
That's real. That's good stuff.
that's good.
Yeah.
Real story.
Yeah, I mean, I was really inspired and blown away by what Bridgegood does.
Yeah.
Once I joined the apprenticeship, and good deeds should not go unrecognized, right?
So, right, absolutely. Yeah, get involved. And again, for anyone else online, take the checklist, run with it. And no matter what, step outside your comfort zone, start getting to meet people in your life. Those are 2 simple things that you can start with.
Yeah. I really wish that they had a Bridgegood back when I was graduating. And I think especially now in this economy or whatever you want to call it, the time period. And especially if you're feeling uninspired in your own creative work, I think too, it's always really good to put yourself out there and go to these events. It's really important to expose yourself to new things, even if you feel like you're like, oh, UI UX design, maybe that's not for me, but you don't know that yet until you actually go out and find it. So,
well, I mean, what is art? Art is you creating it for yourself. So I've created like niche. I've been creating this piece of art for myself. Design is creating for others. And if you don't have a lot of experience doing that, you can't be a good designer by the definition of design. So I would say that getting used to working with clients, getting used to getting harsh feedback, and sometimes good way, sometimes bad way. We've had clients, the biggest companies in the world, say we're going to scrap this last minute, and you might be hurt by it, but you're getting paid. Right? Yeah. And I think that's the real world, is you're not going to have everything your way. So you kind of graduate from the mindset of being a selfish artist to understanding it's a career. And once you make that pivot, everything gets better.
Oh,
mind blowing. Yeah, it's real. But honest, real things that we've gone through that I go through every day. I think last week we were at 15 schools, right? I mean, students of all kinds. And the biggest blocker will be students just don't step out their comfort zone.
Yeah.
They just want to stay safe, and I get it. Pandemic is huge. It still is here, right? But at some point, you need to make yourself different from the competition, and you can't do that behind the computer.
Man,
it's pretty simple. You could have tweeted that.
Yeah, really.
It really is that. That's really the most simple way to explain it.
Yeah. Super profound.
And there are students, by the way, that are super go-getters. So it's not like every student is not.
No.
There are some that get it and are like, we already have a lot of people apply. So I don't wanna, it's all positive at the end of the day, but just some reality checks.
That's so true, because you want to make sure, like, don't sleep on it.
Don't.
Don't sleep on these opportunities.
Yeah.
When they're around, you want to, at least try it, if you put in, especially if they're free, if you can. I know back when I was a student, maybe you're thinking, okay, if it's over 30 minutes, I'm not gonna drive to it or something like that. But find a way to make a whole day out of it, bus there, get there, and then, just even absorb any of the knowledge and be around people with professional mindset, because that's another thing that I think some people say is you want to surround yourself by great people.
Yeah.
And, I think Bridgegood is a really great way of doing it.
And you bring up a great point, just like absorb it, make a day out of it. I love how you say that. You might be wondering, why would I go to the local night at Wells Fargo, San Francisco? Well, you're gonna see how it's like taking BART maybe, getting off of the Embarcadero, going to one of the top 3 biggest banks in the world, seeing what their vibe is like. Their culture is different than Google. Google's different than now Twitter. Not gonna get into that. But the point is that every company has its own culture, and the more that you get it, the more you're out, and then go, I get this now. Like, this isn't that different. It's just, I have to pivot a little bit, change my mindset a little bit. But you can get a job wherever you want.
Yeah.
I can assure you that. I've seen it. All right, cool. So Rob, I left you off. I apologize.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, super, yeah.
Thanks, Bridget. Thanks for coming. If you have.
Appreciate it. Thank you, everyone. Please.
All right, so I'm gonna put this recording up and all my classes and also forward this also to Janelle's. Art professor.
That's great. No, I appreciate that.
Like 5 other professors,
Thank you.
because I really appreciate, like, another thing that I love is transparency of knowledge.
Yeah.
And that's what your company or organization does,
Yeah.
is that you have that full transparency, having the apprenticeship, because this is stuff that you have to pay big bucks
Yeah.
degrees for.
Yeah.
And then you're making it available for people that don't have that.
That's it.
So-
Glad you recognize that.
Yeah, I really do. I just appreciate it so much.
Thank you.
Can I have your note? Thank you. I'm so proud of you. So proud. Yeah.
Sure. So, this is what you want to do. That kind of thing. This is what I'm doing. How do you say?
So welcome.
What made you fall in love with design?
Okay.
Like for me, you saw the journey, the cause, the progression, everything was leading into some leadership. With creativity and something, right?
Yeah.
I think you can piece it together, and I think from what you told me, I'm hearing your music story.
Okay, yeah.
And I think there's things that you need to flex, like, if you go to an interview, it's not just.
Yeah.
Sometimes like,
I've always been fascinated. You know, but just, it's not think as much as it is. Then I presented this.
I will.
A few hundred times. Every time it's different. And but the reason of mission statement is that mission statement. Or it's very slightly, but yeah, that's pretty much gonna be. Okay, definitely. I can tell you from my.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, yeah. I'm gonna be-
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, so,
Yeah.
stickers and business card.
Yeah. You guys do want to work.
We need you. So we need. One, two, three. Bridgegood. I appreciate the questions. Yeah, for sure. Thank you. That was great.